I know I said I wouldn't touch the head, but a couple of days ago I was itching to go to Apple Valley Speedway. And to be honest, I think that it would be silly of me to go knowing that I'm having a little bit of issues on cylinder 2, just because I wouldn't want to waste my time or risk anything happening. And I have a spare head. So today I decided that I'm just going to replace that. I've never done that before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I think it might take me longer than I'd hoped to. Also because a lot of these things are like brittle because the car is so old, so I don't want to break anything. I'm also using the manual as a reference, so if I get stuck, it's right here, or I'll just go on YouTube. I've pulled out a few tools that I think that I might need. I'm very excited. I've already disconnected the battery. Currently, I'm going to drain the coolant. Yeah, I think it should take like 3 hours, but knowing me, I'll probably take 3 days. But even then, I'm excited. I'm a time lapse. Wish me luck. Wow, I'm winded. It's like 85 degrees outside and it's hot. So I removed that. Then I also removed the throttle cable. You just push down, loop out, and it's hanging back there. I removed the radiator. Obviously, I drained the coolant and I made a mess on the floor, even though I used a bucket. And I think that's pretty much it. I also this connector here that attaches to the air cleaner, and then this one. Now I'm gonna remove the pulley, the fan, the belt. So I'm gonna loosen up the bolts right now, and then once I loosen them up, I'm gonna obviously loosen up the bolts that are on the alternator bracket so that I can take the belt off, and we'll go from there. So far, I'm removing the EGR valve with the pipes. I've removed this bolt right here and these two right here, and I believe there's one back here that I'm trying to get to right now, but that's the big bolt I removed. It was, what was it, a 24? Yeah, it's a huge bolt, which is this one right here. I've also disconnected all of the wires that were connected to this side, and this hose, I also detached this one right here. So I'm following the book, but also I'm using, I guess, common sense. So anything obviously that's attached to the head that's not gonna come with it, I'm removing it, I'm plugging it. For example, like this was attached to it, this was attached to it, this was attached to over there, all these connectors. And yeah, that's where I'm at so far. It's still really hot and I'm sweating. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like, I knew it wouldn't be that bad, because even though I've never done it, it seems kind of easy. I feel like I have a lot of space to work with. Luckily, I haven't broken anything yet. Everything's still good, and hopefully it stays that way. And there hasn't been anything that's been too tight for me. And if it is, I always use leverage. I either use the handle off a jack, or I use the hammer on, I believe, the 24 that sits back there. I put the tool and then I use the hammer kind of like as leverage. But yeah, that's where I'm at so far. I'm struggling with this EGR pipe right now. Where's the bolt? Can you see it through here? It's that one right down there, this black one right here. It's like such a hard spot to get to. Let's see if I can get it. I've already loosened it up, and I used a swivel 12, but this was just really hard to get to. Can you see it right there? Yeah, you can see it right here. Yeah, so this one has me sweating a little bit, but it's almost out. I got it. I got it. Ugh. All right, now I have to put the phone down because I can't get it. I just finished removing the intake manifold. It was a bit of a struggle because I didn't want to go underneath the car to remove the bolts underneath the manifold. I don't have much space, so I did it from up here. So I had to feel the bolts. I struggled for a little bit, but I was able to take it out. As far as this side, all I need to do is remove that hose back here that's connected to the back of that. I have to replace this hose because it's seeping. I might as well now that I have the space. And then on this side, I need to remove the exhaust manifold, these covers here in the front, and then I'm going to be able to start taking apart the head. I think I've been out here for about 3.5 hours actually working on it. So it's taking me a little bit, which is weird because it feels like time has gone by so fast. I don't know why it's taking me so long. I haven't really struggled on anything. Luckily, I didn't break anything except for one thing. This connector, I chipped off a piece from the edge, but I didn't even pry on it, so I think it was already brittle and it just happened to break off at the same time that I touched it. Other than that, it was pretty easy. I didn't struggle too much. The fun part's gonna be putting it back together. Ooh. Right now we have a little vacuum gauge because we're checking to see if the butterflies manually open and close, which they do.
Let's see, so we're pumping it and you can see the butterflies still move, but we have a vacuum. So we're gonna test this little vacuum switching valve and you should see, I'm gonna power it on and you should see these move. Nice. So we know the system is working. This is working. Now, is it working electronically? We don't know because we have the battery disconnected and everything like that. But at least we know like mechanically it's working. We could just test it when we hook up the battery to see if we're getting the correct signals here.
Okay.
That's it.
Aside from needing intake manifold gaskets, it looks like I also need a new timing belt. Look at that. It's cracking. It's about to go. Just got done removing the head. There's some pit marks here. And we're trying to investigate where they came from, because that's really deep. Also, the top of the piston's pitted on cylinder number 2, which is the one that had low compression and 90% leakage. That can't be good.